My summer break is almost over. It's almost time as a teacher to go back to school, but that doesn't mean summer is almost over. Summer is still going. In Florida, summer goes like through September. We're still going to the beach, going to the springs. If you don't know about Florida Springs, definitely look it up. Going to the pools. We've got months still of summertime. So I wanted to talk about some summer thrillers. People think about romance a lot in the summers, but to me, summer is all about the easy read thrillers. And so I've got some summer thrillers I wanted to talk to you about because I read a summer thriller this summer. I read several actually that just reminded me why I love a good summer thriller. But I finished Summer's Never Over. This was suggested to me by my sister-in-law. She got it for book of the month and she goes, Katie, you've got to read this book. And it brought me back to my summers as a high schooler, being a counselor and a lifeguard at a camp. And those were some of the most fun, stressful, crazy times in my life and made me want to be a teacher to work with kids. So this thriller, though, wow. I read it by the pool one day and I just devoured it. It is like the best and worst, most intense parts of summer camp counseling, but with this amazing murdery plot twisty twists all about it. So this girl comes home because her mother died and her family has owned a camp for years, for like multiple generations. And she comes home, her mother died and she's supposed to take over the camp and she's not sure if she wants to because one summer, the last summer she spent there, somebody who was her friend mysteriously died. And there's always been a big question mark over her death. Was it an accident? Was it not? And so she's taking this moment of her mother coming back for her mother's memorial, which is also the opening back up for the first time since this girl's death of this camp, to kind of look into the death. And things are starting to happen. And weird things are happening. And I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but they're not so sure what's been an accident and what hasn't. And also, her ex-boyfriend's back and she's not sure about his feelings. And then the boy that she was in love with, that she broke up with the summer before, the friend died, he's there too. And like, there's just so many twists and turns. It's everything that like I love about a good summer thriller. And I didn't even realize it matched my nails. Like, I just wanted this summer color. Like, it's just, oh, so like you feel the sun on your skin. You feel that back to summer lifeguardy feeling of being out in the sun all day and just wanting to go after you've been out in the sun all day and relax. And I always say there's nothing like a better nap. There's no better nap than after being out in the sun by the water all day. And you feel that from this vibe. But then you also have this like great plot twist after plot twist after plot twist. Oh my goodness. So Summer's Never Over. It just released June is the first one. But there's some other summer thrillers that I want to talk about because I feel like just because summer's almost over, and it's not almost over. We've still got a few months. Maybe you're like me and you just don't want it to end yet. Or maybe you're like me and a season doesn't matter. And maybe you want to read these into fall. But we've still got some time. I'm not ready for fall thrillers yet, personally. I don't get ready for fall thrillers until it starts to cool down. And in Florida, we've got at least another month of 100-degree weather. So we're still good to go. So this was one of my favorites. I really loved this. The next one is similar sort of a summer vibe feel. The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. It's a very similar feel to Summer's Never Over. A group of young people were the only survivors to a massive crash from their classmates and teachers. 9 students who survived this massive crash, 2 vans filled with high school students, and they crash into a Tennessee ravine. And they get together every summer at this beach house. And one of the survivors dies by suicide on the anniversary of this crash. They get together every summer. It's filled with there's a lot of secrets in this group. And I love Megan Miranda because her stories always feel like there's always these secrets that come out, and they come out and like you never quite know when or how they're going to come out. And that's one of the things I love about Megan Miranda's books is they're easy to read, but you never quite know what to trust. And this is whole, the like, can I trust the narrator, the unreliable narrator? She does so well. And this book is one of my favorites for that. Like, can I trust what happened in this story? It's so good. So they all these survivors, these get together at this beach house every summer. And they get together this summer. It's a house in the Outer Banks in the Carolinas. And she's just, this one, Cassidy Bent, has decided to distance herself from the tragedy. Changed her phone number. She blocked everyone's email addresses. She's going to go back and she's going to break all ties. But she gets a text from an obituary attached. One of the survivors is dead. And there's only 7 of them less. And she realizes that there's this grief and there's all this suspicion of what's happening. Why are they dying off? They're not that old. They're still really young. And so she goes back. And something is weird. And then, like, they start, like, pairing off. And there's all these secrets. If you want a really good, like, secrets coming out kind of summer thriller, beachy thriller. This is a great beachy thriller. The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. Okay. This one, so it might be up for debate if it's a summer thriller. I would definitely read this all year long. It's not necessarily just summer vibes, but I read it this summer, and a good part of it takes place at the end of that, you know, that senior year end where you're just on the cusp of going off to college and the whole world's at your feet. And I feel like, to me, that personifies summer. And it might be because I'm a high school teacher. And I see that every year of these kids that they're just like, the world is our oyster. We can take it on. But there's also this, like, fear of, like, everything we've known is changing now. That's what this book kind of personifies, is that deep set fear of everything I know is changing. Also, I'm about to take on the world. And that is summer to me. And it might, again, I'm a high school teacher, so maybe that's part of it. But to get back in touch with the girl who was taken by Charlie Donnelly. So again, it's another high school senior. I know it's another high school senior story, but it's kind of that same vibe. It's also set in North Carolina, and they go missing. 2 girls go missing. One comes up back, and the one who's still missing is her older sister becomes a forensic pathologist, and she is determined to find the sister that went missing. And it's a big can of worms kind of a book. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. Charlie Donnelly has become quickly one of my favorite thriller authors. And just the stuff that just keeps on happening, and just this vibe to me. So again, you could read this any time of the year, but it is set in that summer of just going off to college and what's going to happen, and just that summer heat feeling of young love too, that we're about to go off and we may or may not see each other ever again. So it's going to be a really intense summer love too, kind of all personified in this book. And I just, it's something does it. That's just summer to me. So that's part of why I picked this book, The Girl Who Was Taken by Charlie Donnelly. Okay, so another one that you could definitely read at any time of year, but the beginning of it is so set and steeped in that summer heat feeling that I feel like it's a great summer read for me. And that is We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. And the sequel comes out, I want to say this month is August, which I'm really excited about. And so it would be a perfect time to catch up on it. But the beginning is set on the 4th of July. And it really does talk about, like, the heat pouring down their back and the want of something icy and a popsicle, and how it's the perfect time. And, you know, and also, again, it talks about that young, I just feel like, to me, I picture being young in summertime. And that's kind of if you haven't picked up on it, that's a kind of a vibe for me. But the beginning of this is set on the 4th of July. And I know July is past, but that just feeling of, like, I have to do something because it's summer, you know, that we had as kids, that we've talked about. There's this, like, this thing about 90s summers, where we got outside, and I have to admit, as a bookworm, I still didn't like to go outside as a kid, and my mom would be like, go outside like a kid, and I would take my book with me, and she would push me outside and be like, but it's hot, and there's dirt and stuff, So, can I take my book? So that was me as a kid. Also, there wasn't a lot of kids for me to play with around and stuff, so I would still take my book. But that was just me, probably not you. So that was my 90s summer. But that feeling of like being outside with your friends, and that's what starts it off, where these two girls go missing on the 4th of July at this big small town fireworks display. And I grew up in a small town where the 4th of July, I mean, that was a major, major event. The 4th of July parade, like one of the biggest events of the year in my small town. And so the 4th of July fireworks is a big event. And these two girls go missing. And that's what starts off the whole thing. And then they think they catch the murderer. Well, he gets released. And the day he gets released, another girl goes missing. And it's always been this question of, did they catch the right person? And it's just that, to me, that almost angsty, there's like, summer has this feeling of like, what's going to happen next? And I feel like this book really does a good job of that. And I love that about summer. And maybe it's, again, I'm a teacher, so there's this feeling of like, for me, this is the new year feeling of like, things are about to get really good and they're completely changing over for the new year. And also like the heat. So in Florida, we actually get seasonal affective disorder in summertime. And it's a known thing because we can't go outside too much. It's too hot for us to go outside for too long of a time period. And so there's this almost anxious feeling of like, we're stuck inside. What can we do? So I got interrupted midstream, my camera. It's real life. But just that feeling of like, I'm stuck in the house because that's what we have, or I could go to the water where everybody else is. Just this anxious feeling. But this book really personifies that anxious feeling. But the plot twists and the family dynamics, it's all just in there in this book. And then there's this feeling of like childhood, but childhood tainted. You know, we want to remember those beautiful 90s summers, but also our 90s and 2000 summers as a millennial had Columbine. And we had the really beginning feelings of like child pedophiles, and like we had all these like things weren't as rosy as we look back and think they were. And that's what this book just gives me, all those feelings. Okay, another summer Megan Miranda book. I think this was my first Megan Miranda book I ever read, All the Missing Girls. This book is so trippy because it's timeline backwards. And it's so weird, okay? So you tell the back day from day 15 to day 1. Nicolette Farrell, she's got a successful life, and she left 10 years ago after her best friend disappeared. And her best friend disappeared from Cooley Ridge, and I think Cooley Ridge, I want to say, is in North Carolina. I'm not 100% certain on that. I loved this book when I read it. It was so weird to go backwards in time, but not enough books do that. I felt like it was really cool. So she goes back, and because her brother Daniel is expecting a baby, and her former boyfriend works at the local bar, which I think is always a fun premise. And her ex-boyfriend is dating like the group's alibi from that night. So there's a bunch of group, her best friend disappears, and there was one girl who gave them an alibi. And there's all of these secrets. And you don't know what it's going to lead up to, but you go back in time as all these secrets start to like, is everybody really, how much are secrets, how much are lies? And all of these different players. Like, I don't want to try to unravel because there's so much to unravel here of who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth. And it all is really set like in that like summery feeling. And Nicolette's really dealing with guilt and unraveling and family and her brother and how she feels about everything. It's a fun, easy, like fun read. Go read it out by the water, by the pool, by the lake, by the springs. Again, I live in the springs part of Florida, not the beach part of Florida. If you don't know what that means, I'll be happy to teach you about it. But go read it by the water. Everybody thinks of Florida, and those from Florida, like we go to the beach all the time. I go to the beach maybe once a year. I love the springs, though. And I actually really like a pool, to be honest. I love a pool. Um, I am not a beach person. I don't even live that close to the beach, but give me a natural body of water. I grew up in like in a lake region. Give me a good, beautiful cold springs. It's really fun. But yeah, not all of us live by the beach, folks. I promise. I know. Fun fact about Florida. And the last one. So Sharon Bolton, I forget about her as a thriller author. I don't know why I forget about her, but I've liked what I've read by her. So actually, when I went to the library to pick up this book to talk about it, I had totally forgotten about the Pact. And it like popped up as a suggestion as I was getting books about summer thrillers. Like they started popping up, right? And I was like, oh yeah, The Pact. That was a fun summer thriller. And then I was like, oh yeah, Sharon Bolton. Why don't I ever read by her? So while I was, this is totally like, whoo, left field moment. That's okay. You're coming with me on the left field moment. I was like, why don't I ever read books by her? The Craftsman. I loved The Craftsman. So while I was there, I got this book, which is like a cold Antarctic book, because sometimes in summer I want a cold Antarctic book. So I'm going to make a short about that. Because I want to read more summer Sharon Bolton again. I love Sharon Bolton. Why don't I read more Sharon Bolton? Probably because she's like not as popular on Book Talk, and so I don't think about it as much, but I'm going to read more Sharon Bolton. But The Pact, anyway. 6 friends looking forward to the bright futures. And in one summer, a daredevil game goes wrong. And a woman and her 2 children are killed. And 18-year-old Megan makes a pact with her friend. She's going to take all the blame. The others go on with their lives, but each of them are going to owe her one favor, payable when she gets out of prison. Well, it's 20 years later and she's out of prison. And what's going to happen? It's a crazy concept. Like, absolutely. It's absolutely bizarre to me to think of that. But it was a good book, and I reminded me that I want to read more Sharon Bolton. It did, because I just was like, oh yeah, so yeah, I was like, that's weird. And yes, it's that summer, right when you're graduating high school and you're ready to go off in the world. So I want to hear from you. There's one more that I have not read that I feel like gives summer vibes, and it's not her. Everybody tells me I should read this. I don't necessarily know that it's set in summer because I haven't read it yet, but I feel like it gives summer vibes. So this is on my TBR, but like summer camping vibes, I feel like this gives it to me. So I want to hear from you all. What is a summer thriller that I did not list that I need to read? Because I'm still like, would still love a summer thriller to read. And I would love to hear from you all. What is a summer thriller that I need to read? Because I live in Florida. We're still got 2 months of summer left. We've got at least another month of 100-degree weather. Even though I'm back to school, I still feel like summer. So tell me, what is my summer thriller that I need to read that's not on this list? Have you read the ones on this list? What are your thoughts? I want to hear them. And comment down below your favorite summer thriller. And this is Katie. And remember, always bring a book.